Oh, what? There we go. We're in business now. Uh, Technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're past that. Welcome to the First Kings Outsider podcast with your man on the other
Se-
side of the screen.
My fault. Sever the bond. What's up?
Yeah, so my co-host Sever the Bond. It's been a while since we actually did a video together. Uh, WWE was the last one we did, right?
It's been a minute.
Phew, yeah, like a year or two ago, right?
It's been a minute.
It's been a while, but we're here to talk basketball. Hopefully, the way I want to do it is, we'll do it every Sunday. If we do it before Sunday, then the video's still gonna come out on Sunday for you guys. And I want to at least do it once a week with whatever news is coming up in the NBA world. Before I do start, I want to shout out the WNBA because and while Sever focuses his camera, they've been going at it in the playoffs. My man's told me everything that has been going on. Shout out to Rookie of the Year, Kaden Clark. Even though, do you still think that Kaden would have, she would have won if Angel didn't get injured?
I mean, the rookie of the year is Angel Reese, but I mean, shout out to Caitlin, I guess.
Okay,
Sh-
so at least we're not gonna go there. All right. So, for you guys in store today, we do have we want to talk about the Knicks recent trade as well as our opinions on who's going to be moving into the teams that are going to be the best teams at least at the beginning half of the season. Like Utah is a team that's always good at the beginning, sometimes at the end, and then they don't do anything in the playoffs. So we're gonna analyze all that, and yeah, you want to add anything else?
no, no, let's just jump on into it.
Okay, so as you guys know, I did a video like 2 days ago about Karl Anthony Towns being traded to the New York Knicks. I do want to get Sever's response on at least the Timberwolves side of it, because as for Knicks fans like me, and he's a Nets fan, so it's not like we're just biased or whatever. For me, I feel like I didn't like it at the beginning. I told him, I texted him, I think I called him like right away after it happened, and I was like, I don't like it, none whatsoever. And then things happened, and time flew, and I got to think about it, and reports came out stating that Dante DiVincenzo was not going to be happy coming off the bench because obviously it's kind of, yeah, they're all friends, but at the end of the day, like it's hard for you to make somebody play 45 to 50 minutes a game, averaging 20. And I don't know if you know this, but Dante last season scored the most three-pointers by any Nick of all time in a season. So going from that to maybe 15 to 18 minutes a game, backing people up is a tall task. So that's why he was involved in the trade. And then obviously Julius Randle, we did speculate that he was going to end up being moved because he wasn't able to do a contract extension with the Knicks. For some reason, the Knicks like doing that. They like to make sure that they sign a player long term, and if they can't find a deal, then they'll just trade him away before. That way, they don't leave in free agency and things like that. Because it almost backfired with OG. They they almost lost OG. The only reason why they paid him the most money is because they needed him. They just traded Emmanuel quickly and RJ Barrett for him, and he did half of the season, like not even half, and he was injured most of the time. So it's not like, like he was only we went on a what 16 game winning streak or something like that. Not streak, but 16, 14 and 2 in that stretch that he was available. But yeah, so as for the actual Timberwolves, how do you see Julius fitting with them and maybe Dante gonna be a starter, I'm assuming.
I had a similar kind of feeling on the T-Wolf side because I was like, how do they benefit from that? You know, not that Carl Anthony Towns is like, I mean, I don't want to say he's trash, but not that he's like some amazing player, but I don't know if he had the best fit over there. I think a lot of the accolades and stuff and a lot of the things that they were able to achieve in Minnesota, you can probably put on the shoulders of Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley and of course Ant. I the black sheep of the equation, if you will, was always kind of Carl Anthony Towns. So I don't really know how well of a fit he was. I know in the locker room, he was cool, but it's like you're trying to win, and you need folks that have that dog in them, and you add a Julius Randle, you add another hothead, you add another crash out, him and the squad they have assembled there. It's actually a pretty good team. Like once you get past the memes of, oh, Julius chokes and blah 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 this, blah blah that, he's actually a pretty good fit. I don't really know much about Dante DiVincenzo because I don't care about the Knicks, but if he can shoot like you say he can, that's exactly what they need. Everyone's, making the memes about, oh, Julius Randle for three, crash, crash. Well, you got DiVincenzo too, So I think if anything, they probably added toughness, and that's what that team needs. People over
Yeah,
there are smacking them around outside of Ant, so you need someone else with toughness. And Rudy Gobert is not really known for offense, so you
yeah.
need someone else who can help out with that.
But they also could move Gobert like eventually because if you think about it, and a lot of people aren't really talking about this, actually now that I think about it, but that wasn't the full trade. The full trade was Knicks get Karl Anthony Towns and the
Mm,
Wolves get Dante, they got Julius, they got
mm,
one more player, I think Carter's board D Cup or whatever. And
mm,
lastly but not least, a first round draft pick. And that first round draft pick, I think, is for this year, and it's
mm,
via Detroit. And you know Detroit is buns.
mm.
So it might be a lottery pick this year. So they can move that pick this season coming up, like when they everybody sees that the Detroit Pistons aren't doing anything regardless. So, like um that pick can be like top five, top 10. So eventually they could either pick a high pick player like
Mm,
a Cooper Flag,
mm.
like, or they can trade it with Gobert for maybe a potential star. Like, uh, I'm just gonna throw a name out. I don't believe it's gonna happen, but like a Devin Booker, but somebody who can actually help Anthony Edwards, like because Anthony Edwards is what, the three? So now you got Julius at the four. You're gonna have to address the center spot because if you think about it, these last few years, Rudy's been getting exposed in the playoffs. Like having to like rotate 5 times because the guard is like cooking him up with some ankle breakers. Ain't it?
I
So,
guess, man. I like Rudy. Like outside of the fact that he started COVID, I mean, I like Rudy. I think he's pretty good. I don't see a reason to move him,
3
especially
years
since they
later.
moved the heavens and earth to get him.
They did spend a lot on him, yes, and that is still a surprising trade to this day. But I kind of gotta say, like, I didn't like the fit at the beginning because it was Cat was at the five, and
Mm,
then Rudy comes in, and now Cat's at the four, and
mm.
then Cat's no longer there. So what are we gonna see from Rudy now? So the beginning of the season is actually gonna be pretty interesting. But I would say if it doesn't work out, just to trade him before the trade deadline because you don't want to wait an extra year, and that's his contract's pretty big. So that's another thing.
All right.
Yeah. So, as for the Knicks side, do you have anything you want to say about them?
I don't care about the Knicks.
I hate this guy. As also we do have a, tier list that I send over to my man over there on the other side of the screen for you guys. In where he did not make any sense of it, but he did have a couple good spots where he placed every team. Obviously, I don't want to talk about like lottery teams because they can flip flop and maybe they go into the play in and maybe they get the eighth seed and they won't really have a high draft pick, like things like that. But so much more as the actual like contenders. And I do feel like he has one specific team he wants to talk about first, so I'll let him go first.
So for my tier list, I don't know how it is you're gonna present it. I don't know if you're gonna put it on the screen. I'm just gonna read it off of my phone. Uh, we have it as like SABD, no, fuck, SABCD. So for my S tier, like I kind of did it in a weird way. Like my S tier is just one team, and then it goes into the other tiers because I feel like your S tier should be just like a surefire, like they are winning a championship, calling it now. There's no one else on that tier. I feel like an S tier is like this is your pick to win it all. So who I have on my S tier is the Atlanta Hawks. I truly believe that they're gonna win a championship. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't give a shit. It's my list. I think they're gonna win. I think what they got going on in Atlanta is something really special. It's under the radar. No one's talking about it. They've basically assembled the old D'Antoni Phoenix Suns. You know, you've got your Steve Nash, and then you've got a collection of forwards, you know. I think they're going to do incredible. Everybody just completely forgets that we have Jalen Johnson and an assortment of wings and three-point shooters. All of them are light skinned. Like, I mean, I don't understand why everybody just sleeps on Atlanta and acts like Trey's not him, especially when you don't have DeJounte Murray there anymore. So there's no question who has the ball in their hands. And you've gone back to that heliocentric type of offense surrounded by 3-and-D people. Hawks are going to mess around and win a championship. If people can have faith in the Miami Heat because Jimmy, why not have faith in the Hawks because Trey? So that's my S tier.
Okay. So before we actually started the video, I told him that the Hawks for me were at B, maybe even C, because of their basically what they lost compared to what they got. They lost to DeJounte Murray. Ooh. And yeah, you guys can say, now Trey Young's gonna be able to have the ball more and all that. But do you, who is his second option?
Jalen Johnson, bro.
Okay, but do you feel like Jalen Johnson is gonna be like actually like consistent? Because he
He
can have
is.
some games
He
where he's
is.
like
He
20,
already
15.
is, bro. He already is. He is that guy. I'm trying to tell you. And then here's another thing. Everybody forgets we had the number one pick. Zachary Richese is really fucking good. And if he's just gonna stand in the corner and he's gonna shoot and then play defense on the other end, or occasionally he's gonna run the fast break with Trey. I mean, like the team is perfectly constructed around Trey. If Luca can drag them bum ass niggas to the finals, I don't understand why people don't have the same energy for Trey, especially because there's no one to share the ball with. It's just him.
Right, but Dallas actually has multiple people they can give the ball to. Because when they got Kyrie, they got Clay.
Right?
They have playmakers on their team. I'm not saying that the Hawks don't, but like how many do they have compared to everybody else? Because
Enough.
you can see that everyone has two or three options on their team, but
Mm,
there's a lot of teams that have that but have
hmm
no depth. And now the only issue is the Hawks have a lot of depth, but
hmm
how are they going to manage that? Like how many players are actually going to be seeing the floor? You guys still have Cam Reddish, right?
No, he been gone.
Where he went now?
I have no idea where that motherfucker ended up. I don't know.
But yeah, even so, like for example, when the Knicks traded Cam Reddish to you guys,
Mm.
like what happened to Cam Reddish? He didn't see the floor. He's a playmaker. He can do things. You know, he
You
could
got a lot of
spread.
faith in Cam. You got a lot of faith in Cam Reddish.
When we got him, I was kind of sad that we didn't give him the opportunity. I feel like Cam is a really good player. He just needs an opportunity to grow because a lot of people they're like, oh, first draft pick, second draft pick, third draft pick. But they don't know that as soon as they come in the league, they need a year or two. Just not everyone's gonna be Luca, where Luca's gonna be dropping like triple doubles in his first season, and then everything's gonna be rainbows and chat. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. So it's
Yeah, not
like,
everyone can be Trey Young, but thank God we have a Trey Young. You know what I mean? Thank God.
anyway, so I guess this guy with the S and the Hawks, for me, I'd say they are B. I do want to get your opinion on the actual like Nuggets because they saw a championship and they haven't really been as close as everyone assumes them to be. Like last year they lost, and now they lost to all the teams that they have, right? So on the way up on the card. So it's like the Mavs got it last year. Do you see the Mavs going back to the finals this year?
No,
No, right?
no.
So where would the in the Western side at least, who do you have coming out of the West?
I'm looking at my tier list. I mean, I don't want to be like a bandwagon, but I I gotta say it's either OKC or the Grizzlies. Like as long as Ja doesn't get suspended, I don't see how with the team they have constructed over there, they don't make it out of the West. Same thing with OKC. That team is so disgustingly consistent. And then you had a Hartenstein, and then you had like, is it Alex Caruso? Didn't he go over there? I mean,
Yes.
like that's just such a well-oiled machine over there. I don't see how one of those two teams don't make it out of the Western Conference. I'm not really the kind of person that goes crazy over vets. I go off of results and systems, and I think OKC is really well constructed. And I hate them. God, I hate them. But is it's very difficult to deny those two teams of their system. As long as their players are in place, I don't see, especially if the fucking Mavericks can make it. I don't see how they can't break that glass ceiling.
Okay. So on your tier list, you have S as in the Hawks and
Mm,
A as Boston, Milwaukee, and the Knicks.
hmm
Out of those four, including the Hawks, you already said the Hawks you feel like are gonna win the title.
Absolutely.
Out of the other three teams, specifically Boston, do you think they might be able to get another chip in the next 2, 3 years? Or do you feel like that's over with? Because obviously now that you know that you can face it, they want to put into everyone's mind that Jason Tatum is it, right? But who won the Western Conference MVP? Who won the Finals MVP? Not Jason Tatum. It was Jaylen Brown. So how is that like ego battle? How do you feel? Would you think that's gonna impact the next set go round? Because I'm assuming now that everyone knows, oh, Jaylen Brown, he was doing it when it mattered the most. Would you be able to think that maybe Jason could take that step up, or do you feel like it's just done and over with and it's Jaylen Brown's team?
I don't even think that far into it because I don't really validate their championship. Like what they did is what Milwaukee did. They took advantage of a bunch of injuries and fluked their way to the finals and just ran into a team that was exhausted. So
Okay.
I don't value their championship at all. They might make the finals again if they get lucky, but they're not going to win another championship. They just took advantage of a depleted Eastern Conference at that point and then went up against a exhausted. It was also a bad matchup too. Had they had played anyone else, they would have lost. They did
Yep.
not want the smoke with Minnesota. I promise you that. I promise you that.
Okay. So obviously you just said you don't validate their chip. For me, I feel like when they when they went against the Knicks, if the Knicks were healthy, I feel like the Knicks would have took that.
Absolutely.
I feel like if even if Indiana was like semi healthy, because Tyrese I think missed a game or two, right? Or was he like injured? Something happened with their team
Mm,
as well. And what other team did they face? They faced the Bucks too, right? So then you had Giannis not going in the games and Damian having to take care of the ball, and you have a semi-mediocre trying to get back up to what he was, Chris Middleton. So, it wasn't like the Eastern Conference was like all that like last year. Like, like I would assume that they wouldn't have won that title
mm,
um if the Eastern Conference was healthy. And even
mm,
if they were healthy and they would still made it, if they would have won against anyone that was in Dallas, they would have lost. They would have
mm.
lost to the Nuggets. They would have lost to the Wolves. They would have lost to even the Pelicans. The Pelicans would have went because the Pelicans, you know, they would have lost to the Pelicans anyway.
Man.
The Pelicans were literally gonna win that game, but Zion got injured in the 4 minutes left. So like you never know. Like I feel like I feel like I'm not trying to be a hater, but I
Mm,
feel like the Celtics they didn't deserve that title. I would say that maybe this year would be the year that they're like, hey, everyone's healthy, let's go and let's show them what, we actually would have done to them if they were healthy, like as based on I don't think it's gonna happen, don't get me wrong, but it should be the year they're like, oh, we can maybe 2P and show everybody that the first year wasn't a fluke and that we would have won anyway. Because
They won't.
they still have the same team. And Kristaps Porzingis is again injured. So he probably won't come back until half of the season, and
Mm,
like then you can have maybe the revenge tour or whatever.
mm,
So those are your teams. For me, S tier would have been the I feel like on the Eastern side before the cat trade, I would have picked the Knicks to come out of the East.
mm,
Because the team was well constructed, even if they played small. You could have had Julius at the five, OG at the four,
mm,
Bridges at the three, Dante
mm,
at the two, and Brunson at the one, and that would
mm,
have been great. Not so much as, like rebound and stuff, but Julius could have got you 15 to 12 rebounds a game.
mm,
Even though he's undersized, he's what, 6'9". So, he's not like 7 foot, but
mm.
he could defend. And then you have OG who could defend five different slots. So if he needed to take, you saw it in the 76er series, he was taking care of Joel most of the time. And yeah, Joel was injured, and guys, I understand. And now they got Paul George. I don't know. But for me, Paul George's best version, un undoubtedly, his best version was when he was in OKC. When he was in
Okay.
OKC with Melo, and he was balling out. He was balling out. I I have to see something, because yes, in the Clipper days he was averaging 20 something and getting his stuff done, but the Clippers built a team with a whole bunch of stars that can't go by a day without getting injured. So that was their issue. The Clippers would have won a title by now if you had a healthy Kawhi, a healthy Paul George, and a healthy Reggie Jackson or whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, so everything you just said about the Clippers, isn't that what he just went to in Philly? So it's like I don't understand like
That
where the
that that's
shock
what I'm
is there.
saying. That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like he went from an injured team to another
yeah,
injured team.
yeah.
The only upside that team has against the Clippers is Tyrese Maxey.
But
That's
what,
the only upside.
dude, fuck Tyrese Maxey. I'm sorry. I'm so tired of people gagging on him, bro. That nigga is not that nice, bro. Like he's so okay. It's disgusting, bro. He's okay. He's okay. That
but
that man Tyrese Maxey is Fred Van Vliet with locks, bro. Is the same person, bro. I'm sorry. Like he's just not that good, bro.
Fred is good. He's all right. He's not like what the contract is he got, but he's decent.
Yeah,
Starting
okay.
starting a starter at least.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Don't give me that face. Anyway, so then plus he wants to be out there with Drake. Um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so the Clippers, that's the one thing that held them back. So that's why I don't really look at the 76ers as, because at some point Joel's gonna go down and some more people are gonna go down, and then it's just gonna be Paul George with nobody else. And it's gonna
Yep.
be Indiana all over again,
Yep.
because they should have beaten the Heat in 2013 or whatever that was. But whatever. Anyway, anyway. So yeah, that's how I feel about the Clippers slash the 76ers. So that's why I'm not really like into all that. It looks like we have 10 minutes left in our debate. So let's see. So how would you feel about we talking about maybe a sleeper team, maybe someone that you don't really think to talk about in those situations that's not Grizzlies or the Hawks?
Um, I mean, obviously my sleeper team is the Hawks, but if I were to look at the list of my tier list, I guess a team that's like heavily slept on. That's tough because I mean, I feel like I have my stuff ranked pretty accurately to where how I feel. I don't think anyone under the B tier really has a chance of doing anything. So, I mean, I'm still gonna say Grizzlies. It's not a hot take. It's just none of the other teams are very
How
good.
how do
You
you
know what I
feel about
mean?
the Lakers at this point?
Dude, give that up, bro.
They
Give that
they
up, bro.
they got Bronny, bro. They're gonna do it. They're gonna
I
go all the
mean,
way.
bro, that's you know exactly what that is, bro. That's just the moment or whatever that they're gonna have at the end of the season and say, "Oh, the feel good moment of the year." Like they're not actually competitive. I think it's cute, but that's not actually competitive. If you're trying to win games, I don't think any actual Laker fans has any real confidence in anything they have going on over there.
Yeah, well, they already gave the starting lineup. They got Russell, Hachimura, Braun, AD running the five. They got yeah, that's all they got, man. Like their whole
Shout out to
team is so
D'Lo.
expensive, but yeah, I feel
Big shout out to D'Lo.
yeah, they were gonna trade him. I know they were.
Yeah, but shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to
That's
him
my
though.
guy. That's my guy.
Yeah. So, what about the Kings, Sacramento Kings? You know, they got De'Aaron Fox. They got a new addition in DeMar DeRozan, and you know they still got Sabonis. And you're a really big fan of Sabonis. So, how do you feel about maybe the Kings in their future? At least maybe 2, 3 years from now.
I don't really think that adding DeMar DeRozan is a positive, but I've been wrong so many times. I'm kind of like laying back and remaining silent on it. I don't think that's your missing piece. I think that makes things worse. But, you know, again, I've been wrong so many times, so I don't really have many takes on that. I know I love Sabonis, but I just I don't know how adding DeMar to that helps, especially when the league right now is about like pace and space. And I don't think a mid-range assassin spaces anything. I think if this was 4 years prior, then yeah, and that's no shot at DeMar DeRozan. I mess with DeMar. I just I don't think he fits that. I think he would have been better in Atlanta or something. I don't think that. Well, actually no, because we don't really have space for him. Because again, it's about the space.
I would have thought that he would have been a better fit being with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. As maybe the two guard, and having Tyler Hero as the one maybe in Miami. I like that fit at least a little bit better than you know the Kings. I feel like the Bulls, they just lost everything and like now they have Zach LaVine, and I don't even know if he's gonna be ready to go at the beginning of the season. So yeah.
Like for just how like modern day basketball is played, right? When you have someone like him, don't you need a 3/2 that can be
He
off
is the
ball?
three.
But like, don't you need someone in that position who plays off ball? I feel like his whole thing is he has the ball and he kicks it out because it's like everything is like running through him. But if you put him on, say, the Heat, you already have that in Jimmy Butler. You know, you already have that in Sabonis, so it's like where does he fit? He can't play off ball because he can't just stand in the corner and shoot. And if you have him slash, then what's De'Aaron Fox gonna do? Like, yeah, I just I don't see where he fits. It's like, yeah, y'all had to get rid of Julius Randle because it's like if he doesn't have the ball and he's the one kicking it out, what does he do? You know, I don't think there's a place in the league for that right now.
Like, yeah, I can see that. It's like what which shouldn't have happened to Melo.
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like he doesn't really have a spot. That's why I said Miami's the only logical place because yes, they still have Jimmy, but it's star and star, and sometimes having two stars instead of one works out. We did see that a couple times already, and I mean, I'm not saying that they would have won the chip. I'm saying like he would have he would have had fun playing basketball with
Yeah.
dogs, you know?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. And then you have facilitator and Tyler Hero, which is really slept on. He's a really good facilitator. But yeah, besides that, the only other team that I can talk about, but really is nobody else. We've literally said everything. OKC, Knicks, and everything. The only thing I would say is that for me, even though the trade did happen, and now we have Mitchell Robinson as in the trade block, I feel like when we trade him, I think we'll still be a contender. So I would say I would have the Knicks coming out of the East and the Nuggets coming out of the West,
Okay.
and I'll just let that finals happen and settle whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, that's mine. I guess you have Hawks and Grizzlies.
Yep. Hawks and Grizz.
Hawks and Grizz. And who's taking that? Hawks?
Yeah, the Hawks. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. The Hawks.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, guys, we reached the end point of the podcast of the Outsiders podcast for at least first week. See you guys next week. Make sure to like the video. We're gonna be here every week, like I said. So shout out to my man, my co-host Sever Labon for coming through today. And yeah. Anything else you want to end it with?
Let's go Hawks. Woo!
I'm gonna kill him with all this Trey Young love that he has. It's baffling, but yeah, whatever. Stop doing that.
ATL. ATL.
No.
Let's
Anyway,
do it.
so with that being said, they call me the king. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Peace.